Welcome to today's episode of Print to Pixel, the podcast where we talk to marketing leaders and technologists about how omni-channel marketing is revolutionizing the way that direct mail and digital marketing are used together. My name is Dennis Kelly. I'm the CEO of Postalytics, the leading direct mail automation platform that makes direct mail marketing as easy as email. Today, we're speaking with Lindsay Weisgerber of Gundir. Lindsay is the Chief Operating Officer at Gundir, one of the leading direct mail agencies in North America. Gundir works with large companies and well-funded startups who rely on top-of-the-funnel leads to power their pipeline and want a more reliable, measurable, and scalable approach to driving their sales. Lindsay, welcome to Print to Pixel.
Thank you so much for having me, Dennis. I'm excited to be here.
Super excited to have you on board. I've been friendly with the team over at Gundir for many years. Done some projects with you guys. Postalytics and Gundir have worked together on key projects over the years. Mike Gunderson is a legend in the industry. So I've always thought about Gundir as a really innovative thought leader in the category. And so to have the Chief Operating Officer on board today, is a real thrill. And I know the audience is going to be super excited to hear from you.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for having me. It's also an honor to get to partner with you on this, and we get to do great work with you. So it's really fun to kind of bring our worlds together today.
Absolutely. To get started, let's let the audience learn a little bit about Lindsay. So you're Chief Operating Officer at Gundir today, but what has happened in your career that has sort of brought you to this point? What are some of the key influences or events or people that have, steered you in this direction into your current role?
Yeah, of course. We'll go down memory lane a little bit. So I graduated from Oklahoma State. I went there with the dream of being an orthodontist, took my first chemistry class, and decided to change my major. So I graduated with a double major in advertising and in marketing. And soon after college, I went for my first interview at a big advertising agency called Tracy Locke. It's owned by Omnicom. I remember walking out of the interview, calling my dad and being like, "It did not go well, Dad. I'm not going to get that job." 15 minutes later, I got a phone call from the HR manager with an offer, and it was really exciting. And I was like, "Whew, that must have been like their tactic, right?" My first client that I ever got to work on was Meow Mix. They were owned by Del Monte. I will not sing the jingle. You do not want to hear me sing. But it was, what a cool client, right? To be your first client in an advertising agency. Tracy Locke was like everything you think it would be. It was a high rise in downtown Dallas, had all the really cool, like creative nooks and spaces. Like it just was everything you thought an advertising agency would be. So I got to work on the Meow Mix account for about a year. I got to be involved in a sweepstakes event because we did all their print and merchandising and local store marketing. So I got the opportunity to go to Napa and actually partner with Chef Kat Cora to do a whole cat-inspired sweepstakes event. So that was really fun. About a year later, I transitioned into the Pizza Hut account. So Pizza Hut and Yum Brands is local in Dallas, and Tracy Locke did everything essentially but their TV. We did print, merchandising, packaging, food photography, local store marketing, email, social analytics, you name it. And that is where I think my passion for print really grew. Since the client was local, it was like, the old school where you'd have to like print everything out, have your agendas, drive to the client, set up the room, put the creative up on the wall, and present in a big room. And I had a client at Pizza Hut. Her name was Robin Clark, and probably one of the most instrumental kind of mentors I've had in my career, which is interesting because she was my client. But she taught me a lot about the strategy behind print, how to lead a photo shoot, how to navigate like challenging politics within a company and an organization. And even down to the like, where do you stay when you go in LA? Like, make sure you live it up and have fun. But she was such a good mentor, and believe it or not, even when we had somebody at Pizza Hut go out on maternity leave, I stepped in and would work alongside her at the office. And so our working relationship with Pizza Hut was very, very strong. So I got the privilege of being on that account for almost 7 years and grew in my career. I started at Tracy Locke as an assistant account executive and was an account supervisor when I left. I got the opportunity then. I had a passion to serve nonprofit organizations. I ended up finding an agency in Dallas called Pursuant. They work with several different nonprofits across all different verticals. And wow, what a challenge in my career, going from more of a transactional marketing to relationship. Really having to identify these amazing life change stories and move people's hearts. The fundraising and nonprofit world is much more of that life cycle kind of marketing. How are you going to acquire, build, nurture, engage, and grow the donor base? And so like I had to learn, I felt like from ground up, because it was all about analytics and marrying that with the science and really building these really sophisticated fundraising programs that were multi-channel and leveraging our data to test and see what was going to drive donors and build their donor base. And so that was also insanely rewarding because I got to work with so many amazing nonprofits, and you get to see the impact that you're making on a daily basis. And so I grew in my career there too. I started there as an account person and grew to be an associate vice president. And I had a recruiter reach out to me and was like, "Hey, I want to tell you about Gundir." And I was like, "Wow, well, I really thought if I go, my next journey might be to go on the client side to just gain that perspective." But instantly when I met the Gundir team, I was like, this is my place. This is where I need to be. The people and the culture and the leadership was just incredible. And the focus on just direct mail really intrigued me. And it was pretty exciting because at the time when I interviewed, there was a plans for Jeff, who was the prior COO, to kind of, take a little bit of a step back. And they were like, "We're going to be like really, priming you for this position." And at first I was like, they're just saying that. They're just, they're putting me in for this job. But like a year in, there was an intentional plan. It was happening. Things were moving in that direction. And that's just, again, remarkable of the vision and the passion commitment that the Gundir leadership team has. And so it was such an honor in May when I got to step into the COO position and oversee all of our departments. So production, data, account, and creative. And also think about how we're going to continue to kind of grow and elevate our company and, just get to be a part of this amazing culture that Gundir has established. So that kind of takes me to today.
Well, first of all, congratulations. You've had a fabulous ride, it sounds like, in your career. And so I'm sure that it was the ride was filled with a lot of hard work and probably some bumps along the way. But to be in a position that you're at as COO at Gundir is tremendous. And uh, I'm not surprised that knowing Mike and Jeff a little bit, that you were brought on board and groomed and things were exactly how they said it would go. It's not surprising at all knowing those guys. Um, Pretty incredible that you're on the Meow Mix account. And, as soon as you said that, my mind immediately went back to the jingle. And so I'm sure it's happening to a lot of the audience, at least of a certain age here on today's show. But we will spare you all from my singing. But it is continually on a loop in my head now for the rest of the day. So thank you for
You're
that.
welcome. You're welcome. Anytime.
That's awesome. So, so lots of great mentorship, lots of great experience at Tracy Locke, Pursuant. I completely agree on the nonprofit space, by the way. It is a completely different form of marketing. We have a significant practice in the nonprofit category, and it is night and day
Mhm.
from consumer
Yeah.
packaged goods or any of the more B2C traditional types of marketing programs. And so I'm sure that gave you a really well-rounded perspective on how to impact clients and probably in ways that will continue to unfold over time as you spend more time at Gundir and work
Mhm.
across a lot of different clients. So, with that in mind, uh, uh, why don't you uh, describe Gundir? And I gave a little bit of an intro, but would love to hear about what Gundir's all about from your perspective. And then, what are the things that you're really drilling in on as COO at this point?
Sure. Yeah. So, Gunner is a really unique and authentic agency because a lot of agencies are trying to do all the things, right? And do them all very well. Our niche is direct mail, and that is our focus. Our ultimate goal is to make the mail a rewarding experience. And so everything we do is centered around that. Which is why our culture is so strong and our expertise is amazing because we have these unicorns because everybody at our company is passionate and committed to direct mail. And so that just makes us a very, unique place. Right now, like we serve a variety of clients in all different verticals of all different sizes, and we're driving top of funnel leads, right? We're trying to drive responses. And also, we work with several clients who have differing KPIs. So the strategy and the analytics evolve depending on the type of client and their goals. Right now, as we're, planning for 2026 and my role as kind of the COO is to continue to elevate the direct mail channel, be thinking about how we're staying on the forefront of all the trends and the innovations. As you know, Dennis, and as we work together on, direct mail, we're trying to find ways where we can be more timely, more personal. We can drive costs down, all of those things. But we're also like really committed on our growth as an agency and how we're expanding into our new services that we're going to hit on in a little bit later today. Being able to meet clients kind of where they are. And we're at a really amazing place with direct mail because I feel like now more than ever, people are trusting the channel because of its tangibility and the experience that it is providing and the lift that we are seeing with direct mail and the value of the customers that it's bringing. So there's just like this like renewed energy and momentum I feel like backed behind the channel right now. So, we want to just ride that momentum and continuously be thinking about new test, new creative ways we can optimize and leverage our USPS promotions to drive down the cost for our clients. We're continuing to kind of grow our team and expand into new knowledge sets. We have a lot of new technology and partners that we're working with as we go into 2026. Again, it all goes back into how do we make the direct mail channel stronger and how do we make sure that we're not getting too comfortable, right? Direct mail, we know, has been a channel that relies on those best practices, but which we all know work, but we've got to be thinking about what is the new best practices going to be, right? And so we're constantly challenging our own selves with thinking about different ways we can be representing offers and that overall kind of omni-channel experience. So yeah, those are some of the things like right now, we're really focused on as we move into 2026.
Well, that's great. And, I think those of us that are in the business are fully aligned with what you're seeing out there in terms of energy around the channel. Uh, there are a lot of drivers, as you were mentioning. The trust component is a big part of it,
Hmm.
and I think that there's digital overload. There's a lot of challenges in what had become, I think, the default performance marketing thought process around digital ads, and paid social, and so the costs are skyrocketing. The returns are not as strong as they had been, and so marketers are looking for other channels. And we all struggle with our email, right? Every person
Oh, yeah.
in America today struggles with managing their email. And frankly, I'm a bit scared often to open emails from financial institutions, even those that I work with, because you just don't know. You really have to be very careful about what you're doing and what type of emails you respond to, or download a file from, or click through a link. So there's so much danger out there, and with AI now accelerating a lot of things, both from a positive standpoint as well as a security standpoint. There's just a lot of uncertainty out there, and so marketers are returning to direct mail because they know it works. People trust it. You know, the government, your banks, the legal profession, they use mail for sensitive communications that they know will get there.
Yes.
And so marketers are trying to jump on that trend. And it's all great stuff. Um, the I think some of the programs that Gundir is recently rolled out are really interesting. And so, I've seen on your website and through social media that there are a number of different solutions now that Gundir has offered,
Hmm.
as opposed to maybe the traditional agency approach. Um, Packaging up some solutions and offering them to clients is really a different approach. And so I've seen things like Gundir Launch and Gundir Express that are really targeting customers at different stages of their life cycles. And so uh, uh, help us understand, what is a driver behind this? What's really the strategy that is behind this new solutions based approach that Gundir has rolled out?
Yeah. So, we wanted to be able to serve a variety of different clients and sizes and be able to meet them kind of where they were in their direct mail kind of experience or journey. And so we came up with these solutions to do exactly that. And so I'll walk you kind of through, Dennis, each of the solutions. So the first one is called Gundir Launch, and that is for, a startup company new to direct mail, doing it for the first time. Their quantities might not be as high. They're, wanting to introduce maybe, one test so they can dip their toe in to see if they can prove the channel. And so we created a program to be able to kind of build that foundational direct mail program to inform kind of their testing strategy and their data sources, and to work with them to think about how do we build a roadmap to test and learn and to validate. But also the goal is to continue to scale that program over time so that they see not only them hitting and achieving their KPIs, but also bringing down the cost and gaining efficiencies, because we know that's when you're going to really see big wins in direct mails, when you're able to scale. So that's kind of the Gundir Launch solution. Then we have a solution called Gundir Lift, and this is for clients who are experiencing fatigue with their response rate. And so they come to us and they want us to beat their control, come and just develop 4 to 5 new breakthrough concepts that are going to shake up the mailbox. So our team will do a strategic messaging pillars exercise along with the in-depth kind of competitive analysis. We'll review their direct mail for best practices and industry trends, and we will leverage all of those to come to them with, 4 to 5 new breakthrough kind of concepts, all aimed to kind of test alongside their control and to beat it. And so you could imagine like that's where we have a lot of fun. Then we have Gundir Lead. Now, these clients and this solution is tailored for more, I would say, sophisticated programs, mailing more on a reoccurring basis, larger volumes, need a little bit more oversight and guidance from a strategic perspective. And so these are, can be a mix of B2B or B2C clients, but these are kind of those, like I said, those larger, more sophisticated direct mail programs. And we are serving them from strategic consultation to creative to data to analytics and to production. And then we have Gundir Loop, which is all about retargeting. So we work with a vendor and a partner to really monitor website traffic and to be able to timely and personalized communications based on people who are warm prospects who are spending time on your website. We're able to model them and target them in the mail within 48 hours. And we have seen some phenomenal success with that program. And then our newest solution, which you know all about, is called Gundir Express, which we are partnering with Postalytics on. And it's a program kind of like a DIY platform where our clients can go in and build their creative, but there are templates and best practices all backed by Gundir and our expertise. And they're able to kind of go in and in a more cost-effective and timely manner, kind of manage their own direct mail programs. And so, we're finding those opportunities to present that solution to our clients when time or budget could be a limitation. It's a great solution. And then also finding opportunities as well to connect into their CRMs, right? So that we can also provide kind of more of that lifecycle, overarching kind of experience based on certain behaviors or data points that we're seeing within that consumer journey. So that is kind of the full suite of all of our solutions that we've seen really strong tractions on because it's, people can quickly identify as to where they are in their kind of direct mail journey and find, what service is going to fit them best.
Well, the audience should be clapping their hands right now because clearly what you and the Gundir team have done is actual marketing, and you have segmented your audience.
That's right.
And so, I can't tell you how many agencies and tech companies and organizations that you run into that don't practice what they preach. And so, clearly, the team at Gundir here has taken a really fundamental approach at looking at their audience and doing some segmentation and building solutions that are designed for specific segments. And so congrats on the launch of all of these great products. Obviously, we're super excited about the Gundir Express program. And we see a huge need out there for exactly what you're providing. Postalytics is really a software company. We are really not going to get down into creative or strategy or the actual direct mail implementation. We really want to be a software company, and so this is a great partnership where we can bring the strengths of both organizations together to serve this audience. So we're super excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, we saw, Dennis, that we were turning away some business, right? Because they didn't fit a specific need or a service that we had. And so we felt like that was such a lost opportunity. So we were like, how do we create a more, robust solutions and packages so that we can serve everybody who wants to get into the mail? So yeah, we're really excited about the overall suite of solutions.
Oh, again, congrats. We're rooting for you and really excited about this new direction that Gundir has taken. So, Gundir has a lot of customers in a lot of industries over time. That's the organization has been around for many years. And so, as I mentioned before, we've worked on several projects over time and seen some great success stories. And so, I was curious if you have any customer success stories that you might want to share with the audience, where Gundir has really gone in and done some great work, and what were really the drivers behind that success?
Yeah. So I'll give you two examples. I'm going to start on the B2B side. So one of our Gundir lead clients is EasyCater. So they are a catering solution for businesses. We've been working with them for about 5 years. But back in 2024, they came to Gundir and they said, "Hey, you guys, we are going to increase our mail volume." And we were like, "Yes, this is so exciting." They're like, "We're going to triple it." And we were like, we almost fell out of our chair. I mean, every dream, right, that we ever have in the mail world when they're like, "We're going to give you more budget." That gives you more test cells. That gives you more opportunities to learn and to grow. And so we like rolled up our sleeves alongside our clients and we built really sophisticated projections as to align with their KPIs and developed, what are we going to do at our core? How are we going to grow your program? And then where are we going to really have fun and like innovate? The whole goal for them was to find untapped and new like prospects. So where is their potential that we're currently not hitting? Being able to expand our mail volume and our reach was able to really accelerate our opportunity to learn. Then what we did in 2025 is we said, okay, now let's step back after we did all of that amazing testing and learning, and let's take that and scale back a little bit to make it more of an efficient program. And that was huge, right? We were able to then figure out where opportunities exist, where it didn't, and we've been able to even continue to improve on that program and the results and also identify new areas of growth. So EasyCater is just a really exciting client to be a part of. What makes that partnership work, honestly, is the transparency and the teamwork and the alignment on kind of our goals and our KPIs with the client. It's like when you guys are both in it together to win and you're getting and sharing kind of the knowledge and the brain power, it's amazing like what you can accomplish together. And so we just get really good collaboration from their team, because sometimes like direct mail can be in a silo, but you have to make sure that you're working alongside all of the other channels so that you can maximize the impact that you're having, and you're making a cohesive experience for your customers. So we're really excited as we move into kind of their 2026 planning. My second client is going to be Mochi. They are a B2C client and they are in the health vertical. They, are in the space of like GLP-1s. So they came to us as a Gundir lead. So startup company, never done direct mail before. We started with quantities of around 200,000. We built a very good roadmap for their first year. We developed projections and we identified tests really early on with the goal of scaling their program. And they wanted to be bold. And so within 6 months, we went from 200,000 in a monthly mail to 1 million pieces in a mail program. And with that scaling, we also cut their customer acquisition cost by 53%. So it just
Wow.
proves to you that as you scale and as you identify what data sources and what creative works, you're able to not only drive your results, but also create those efficiencies. And again, I will say the same thing has happened with that partnership. And the key to success is just alignment on goals. Being okay to take risks and knowing that as you put certain investments into maybe in innovation or growth, that return might be a little bit different because you're learning. And direct mail is one of those channels where you have to be patient and give it time for the results to bake, to know what your response curves are, which we all know they vary by vertical and by product and by purchase decision. But once you unlock that and you develop your strategies alongside of that, it's pretty remarkable the results that you see on the end. But both clients love and trust direct mail and see the value in it. And we work really hard with our clients to make sure that we have the correct attribution and that we're also not just looking at the acquisition and the new customers that they're bringing in, but the long-term value that the direct mail customer is bringing,
Hmm.
because that's where we see across other channels direct mail customers end up being the ones that we retain and also the most valuable over time.
That's amazing. Interesting, Lindsay. I've heard now in our conversation here the words test, testing, test cells, scale several times. I think they're pretty related, aren't they? You
They are.
know, and the notion that direct mail requires a little bit of patience, I think is really a wise thought process. Um, because it takes a little bit to get the testing done and to figure out the attribution but once you do, then you can do things like knock 53% off the cost of acquiring a customer,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. Yes.
Uh, s- so it seems like that there's those notions of testing and attribution are really at the core of what Gundir does in a lot of circumstances.
Yeah, and I will say also, like, just the evolution of data sources that we have now. So, in order to test through all those data sources and alongside your creative and make sure you have test cells to where you're going to get a statistical significance to then be able to rely on the results to make decisions, right? It just takes time because there are just so many amazing new different data sources that we're leveraging, whether it's model data, intent data, social kind of behavior data, straight selects. And so that's where that patience comes into play because we want to really look into all the different opportunities based on how we kind of model your customer. But it takes, like I said, that time to test through it, see what works, see what doesn't work. And then we can start to put all of our eggs in that one basket. And that's where you start to see kind of the results really start to go up. And that's why we present our clients with a pro forma so that they can see, okay, if we take the best of the best and we put it across these, maybe these three larger quantities, look at what that does to bring your production cost down, your CPP comes down, and overall it drives your results up. And that really helps, our clients then take that pro forma and present that to their leadership. Because I will say, right now, everything comes down to the bottom line. It has to have a positive return in order for them to continue to invest in the channel. So we're constantly having to prove that and arm our clients with those data points to, continue to invest in the channel.
Yeah, that all makes perfect sense, and I think that we're seeing those exact same things in our customer base. Is you need proof, right?
Mhm.
If we're going to invest in a channel, it's got to work, and we have to prove it. And so I think the framework that Gunder has developed across these different segments makes perfect sense with that kind of consistent notion of testing and creating those test cells and having some patience to try everything out. So, congrats. Uh, Finally, we'll wrap up with last question. We're heading into 2026, and so from your standpoint, where you sit at Gunder, what are some of the top trends that you think will be important in 2026? And what are the things that the marketers out there should be thinking about in their 2026 planning?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Some of these things aren't going to be like, completely brand new, but it's how we start to like execute on them. The first one is personalization, right? We all know that when you can tailor a message to be relevant to you, that it's going to connect with the consumer in such a stronger way, and that's going to increase your ROI and your return and your response. but leveraging strong data points, right? So working with our clients to make sure that their data is clean and that we can find new variables and have higher personalization within direct mail is going to be really critical because you want to meet the consumer kind of where they are in their life and present them with stuff and information that is relevant to them. So, like we said, we are all getting bombarded with communication. And so, if you can do that, that's going to be really key. But we're working with a lot of our clients to be like, we have to clean up our data. We're not there yet. So, we're working a lot with them on data hygiene in order to have all those variables, in order to put them into the direct mail piece. I'd also say just offers are going to be critical and things that can be kind of distinct by channel. So, putting together and putting out there an offer that is maybe just in direct mail so that it feels exclusive and it supports attribution. And anything we can do to drive kind of that urgency around our offers is going to be critical. So, limited time offers, expiration dates. We're doing a lot of testing right now around different call to actions, different offers to see, what is also very differentiated within the market. So you have to look at your competitors. You have to see what everybody's doing, but you have to stand out. And it has to be something that people see as valuable. We were on a training last week and we just learned that, 80% of people research before they actually make a purchase decision. So they're going out, they're looking at other brands, they're looking at other options, right? So you have to make sure that you stand out. So that's going to be, a big trend. Also, the continuation of USPS promotions. I mean, it is remarkable the amount of savings we've been able to capture for our clients in this past year. But with the rising, production and postage cost, finding ways for our clients to take advantage of all of those USPS promotions, whether it's the growth incentive, the tactile, the technology, making sure that we are taking that into consideration when we're planning, because it's really like helping us to support the channel and also have like a really amazing experience. So it's pretty cool. I'm sure you're seeing your mailbox, you're seeing some more of those like, touchy feely things come out and you're like, I bet that's because they get the USPS for incentive if they do like the soft, paper or that nice kind of, sheen on the envelope. So we're definitely tapping into that as well. And then I think omni-channel orchestration, which has been around and has existed, but continuing to leverage, the data to make sure we have the right kind of mix of it and what channels are truly driving kind of that overarching decision and making sure that orchestration is really on point. And that's where like our partnership with you guys from a Postalytics and a Gundir Express perspective is so critical because we can have our mass direct mail program running, but we can then also integrate with Gundir Express, tap into kind of the CRM, be able to send mail out for more of a journey experience based on certain decisions that we see that the consumers are making. So, again, hitting them where they are within their own kind of journey, being timely and being relevant is going to be another really big trend as we go into next year. So those are just kind of the few things that are really top of mind for us for 2026.
Well, they all make a lot of sense, Lindsay. And the last thing that you touched on there around having CRM or marketing automation driven triggered mail really ties together several of those components, right? So,
Mhm.
you know, it when a trigger is coming out of a CRM or marketing automation tool, it's because there's been some touch point that is desired at a particular stage of a customer journey, and so that's one single piece of mail that is
Mhm.
being triggered at a time for one individual person. And if the data has been cleaned up and it's driving into, some really interesting and different variables on that mailer, that is going out and that is designed for that single touch point. It all kind of comes together and has an incredibly powerful effect on response rates. So I'm super excited to see how things progress here over the course of 2026. I think Gundir is, as always, focused on the right things. So looking forward to a great year of success for you and for our Gundir Express program that we're working on together.
Of course. Yes, we're excited.
Excellent. Well, Lindsay, it's been a great pleasure to speak with you today. As the audience is thinking about their plans for 26, and they want to reach out to you or Gundir, what would be the best way for them to reach you?
Yes, you can email me at lindsay@gundir.com, or you can message me on LinkedIn, whichever way is easiest for you. But yes, we'd love to meet you. We'd love to have conversations with you. We have just a team of people who are super passionate about mail. And we don't take ourselves too seriously. We like to make it fun too. So yeah, give us a call.
Thanks again for coming on board, and we'll look forward to some great success in 2026.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dennis, for having me. I really appreciate it.